Can you all hear me? I'm seeing your names in the as guests in the session. So I'm going to, oh, there we go. Okay. Oh. If it's possible, if you all do want to share your screen so we can see each other, it's a small group. I believe it's around 22. No pressure if you don't want to, but if you want to share your screen so we can see you, feel more than welcome. But you all can hear me, correct? Give me a thumbs up for those of you that are on the screen. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, it is nice to be with all of you. I know, like I said, this is a small group, so we're going to sort of talk about what commuter life is like here at Loyola, and sort of what you can expect all as a commuter student. So what I'm going to do real quick is share my screen with a PowerPoint. Oops. Okay. Can you, for those of you that had your screens on, can you just unmute yourself and let me know if you can see the PowerPoint?
I can see the PowerPoint.
I can see it too.
Can any of you unmute? I'm assuming you can see the PowerPoint. Yes, you can. Perfect. Okay. All right. So just to sort of go off with a little bit of a further introduction in terms of who I am here at Loyola. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Luke Hawes, and I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Student Engagement. And I work particularly with leadership development programs. You might start to hear some things as you become a student here at Loyola around leadership and some programs that you can participate in to sort of develop your leadership skills as a student. But then also the commuter student support. So what we will sort of do within the Office of Student Engagement is work directly with you, commuter students, and sort of helping you transition to Loyola and sort of get acclimated to Loyola life as a commuter student. Just a little bit more about me. I know you heard in the welcome session, Dr. Parker talk about Dr. Kelly talked about, he was a student, he came back. I am in that same boat. I was a Loyola alum. I graduated in 2017, took 3 years away and decided to come back to Loyola because my experience was so good that I couldn't not come back and experience it all again as a working professional here at Loyola. So, a little bit more about what our office does here at Loyola, the Office of Student Engagement. You might have heard Sarah Scalzo talk at your welcome session. She's the Director of Student Engagement, and then I fall underneath of her. And in terms of commuter students and what our office sort of provides to you all, I like to put it into 3 categories here. So our first one, we're supporting your transition. And so that started today. You're attending summer orientation. You're getting that key vital information that you're going to need to know to sort of move on in your next steps of the transition until the fall semester starts. We also support your transition once you get here in the fall with our fall welcome weekend, so an extended orientation period. And what you'll sort of get in that experience is also an evergreen. So you should have had an evergreen already reach out to you. And this is your summer evergreen. But when you come in the fall and you have your Messina class, you will also be provided a Messina evergreen that will be with you for that whole year long. So that's sort of how we support your transition to Loyola. And then once you're here, and you're immersed in classes, you're coming to campus every day, maybe every other day, we have that campus involvement piece. And this is where I see as one of the most important aspects of a commuter student's life. I hope and I wish, and I will be there to help provide this to you all, is that you feel like Loyola is a place away from your home, almost like your second home. Yes, maybe you're not living on campus directly, but I hope that you feel comfortable coming to campus whenever to take advantage of the resources we have to offer. And that key piece of information that I have sort of in that second level here is connection to peers and Loyola. And so within our office, the Office of Student Engagement, there's a plethora of things that you can do. We have things called Options and CAB, which are two sort of social programming groups who will put on events. Options takes you to sort of off-campus venues at discounted tickets. Maybe it's an Orioles game, maybe it's a laser tag arcade, whatever it may be. CAB is our campus activities board, which is going to be much more of the campus involvement on campus, whether that's social, educational, transitional programming on campus. We also have groups called Superfans, which is our athletics group. So it's a group of people who basically go to all the athletic games, cheer on our athletics teams. They're another group we have. And then our big one that we have in our office is our clubs and organizations. So you might have heard when you were coming to Loyola, or you were on a tour, about how many clubs and organizations we have and how easy it is to make a new club or organization. And that's true. We have a plethora of clubs and organizations, both academic, both social, any interest that you might have. I can guarantee you there is probably a club here for it. If there isn't, I persuade you to create the club, because it is an easy process and it's something that you can get involved in easily. And then sort of that connection to Loyola piece. I want you all to remember that as commuter students, you still have all the resources as our residential students here on campus. So I am thinking of things like our career center, going to get your resume checked, doing a mock interview, our writing center, using them to assist you in writing essays that maybe you have for classes. There's all these things, the FAC, the Fitness and Aquatic Center, which you might have heard about in our welcome session. Making sure to utilize all these resources that are provided to you so that you can feel a part of the Loyola community and feel involved, even though you're not a residential student. And then that last one, that point of contact, I think is one of the most important things. Yes, you are going to have a Messina mentor, you're going to have faculty members you might get close with, but know that I am always here as a point of contact. Resources throughout the academic year, throughout your transition to Loyola. I'll put my email at the end of this PowerPoint, but please feel free to reach out. I will be here to answer any questions at any time. Some important commuter information that I did want to just sort of go over for you all, which I'm sure you probably most of these in some communication or some forum that you have been in contact with Loyola through the last few months. But the first one is a commuter parking. And if you go to Loyola's website, you type in parking, you'll find a tab that says commuter student parking. And this is where this information comes from. So there's 3 different parking options that you can select. The first one being daytime satellite, which is, obviously you can see the price there. There's 3 different lots that you can park on during the daytime. So this might be, for example, if you're coming to class, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, you might get this pass because you'll park in one of these lots and then shuttles will come and pick you up and take you to campus. Commuter overnight convenience, which is obviously more expensive because you're allowed to keep your car there overnight. We have our York Road parking lot, which also provides shuttles to main campus from the parking lot. And then the last one, I put it on here, it's commuter convenience. It's very limited. It's only limited to 20 spaces. So it's really a first come, first served basis, but it's that in-between price between the daytime satellite and the commuter overnight convenience. And then the next thing on here is our meal plan. So even though you are not a residential student, you still have the option to select into a meal plan. What you can do is also, once again, if you go onto Loyola's webpage, type in meal plans, dining services will come up. There is, if you're looking at all of the plans, there's one plan that has on the bottom of it, I believe it's in red ink, it says most popular among commuter students. So look in that plan, see if that's an option you would like to sort of pursue. If not, you do not have to select a meal plan at all, but I do just want to make you aware that it is an option for you all to select into a meal plan. And this also might be beneficial, say, for example, if you want to stay on campus with friends that you meet, and you realize that you're eating a lot in our dining halls and you don't want to spend that out of cash money, you can sort of get that meal plan so that you can start to use swipes in our dining halls. The third point on here, some important information, is spaces to utilize on campus. So as a commuter student, obviously you don't have a living space on campus to sort of go to between classes, to go to study, but just know that there is a plethora of spaces on campus that you can utilize. For example, the library is a great place to go to. If you visited campus, you might have seen our Starbucks area and all the tables that are sort of around that area. But I will say that is getting totally renovated, so it's going to look even bigger and better than what you might have remembered seeing it as. And then obviously in all of our academic buildings, there's nooks and crannies everywhere to sort of utilize as study space, to do your homework, wait for your next class, whatever it may be. And also if once you make friends, and you can sort of utilize their residential living spaces as well. And then the last piece of information that is important for a commuter student, these 4 little nuggets, is our commuter lockers. So say you do happen to bring a lot to campus one day and you don't want to carry it around. We do have commuter lockers. So if you have visited campus, if you haven't, it is in our student center. So where Boulder, our dining hall is, you might have seen the Starbucks, the sushi in that big building. On the 3rd floor, you will see as soon as you walk up the stairs, it's right in front of you. There's I think it's about 20 lockers. You can utilize those lockers whenever you would maybe need them. So say, for example, you bring a umbrella to campus because it was raining in the morning and you're staying all day and it's not raining an hour later and you don't want to carry this umbrella around. Go ahead and go use the lockers. They're free to utilize any time of the day, any day of the week, for commuter students. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to, oops, I see 2 people in. I'm going to sort of turn it over to you all. So that was some very brief information about commuter life, what to expect at Loyola. If you have any questions, this is now the time that I really persuade you to ask them. I will give you the answer to whatever question maybe you have. If I don't, I will make sure to provide it to you. But for those of you that are in the room right now, I see a question and answer tab up. Chat is disabled. Yes, they told me I didn't want it to be disabled, but they had to disable it. So what you can do in the question and answer section, so if you look on the right side of your screen, you'll see chats, polls, guests, and Q&A. If you have a question, type it in the Q&A section, and that's where I can see it. So if you have any questions about commuter life, please go ahead and chat or ask that question in the Q&A section. To type if you need it. Okay, I'm going to see them. I'm going to let them all come in because they're all moving. So I'll let some more come in and then I'll start to answer them. Okay. I have 3. Okay, I will start with these 3. And then if you have questions as we're going, keep continuing to ask them. First one, what is the difference between the daytime parking option and the convenient option? So the daytime parking is the one that you are able to park in multiple locations. So there's 3 different parking lots you can park in. The most popular one is the Cathedral lot, which is up on Charles Street past Loyola on the left side. So those spots are what the daytime parking option is. And what it means is that your car can stay there up until sort of a certain time of night. The convenience parking, as I said, is a very, very limited number of spaces. And so if I'm suggesting anything to you all, I would definitely suggest that first option that we sort of talked about in terms of the daytime option. But that is also up to you in terms of what you think your regularity of coming to campus is going to be, because there also is that overnight option, but obviously that is more expensive. And if you don't think you're going to stay overnight, that spend the more money for it. Next question. Someone asked, if you start out as a commuting student and decide it would be better to live on campus, can you change onto on campus? Great question. I can't give you a straight answer with that in terms of, the first semester. The brief answer to that is yes, you can come and live on campus if you wish to. What I will say is it's all dependent on the spaces that are available. So if our housing capacity is full at the time, you might possibly have to wait until the spring semester, but it is always an option to move on campus. So if you're commuting on campus and you think that it's going to be a better option for you to live on campus, email me, let me know, and I can sort of get that ball rolling with student life in terms of what the next steps would be for that. And third question, sort of similar, if I commute for the first semester and then live on campus second semester, would I not be able to have a car second semester? Correct. So you are allowed to have a car as a commuter student because you're not a first-year residential student. First-year residential students are not allowed to have cars on campus. Second year you can. So yes, that answers that question. Any other questions? And I want to touch base on that second question that I read out, that if you start commuting as a student and decide it would be better to live on campus, what I want to say is I want to touch back on that campus involvement piece that I talked about on that one slide. Really trying to, you heard about this at the welcome session as well, stepping outside of your comfort zone and embracing, getting involved in things that maybe you wouldn't naturally get involved in on campus is a great way to meet people and get connected to campus. Yes, you're gonna, meet people in your classes, but as a commuter student, making sure to step outside of that comfort zone is really vital, so that you can be fully incorporated in a Loyola community. And what I will also say is we have a commuter student group. So there's 2 students that I work with that sort of oversee our commuter student programming. So we put on programs throughout the academic year for solely commuter students, so that you all can sort of get to know each other, but then you also can sort of bring yourself back to campus and feel connected to the campus community. So you're going to probably be annoyed by the emails that you receive from me this year, but whenever you see my name pop up, it's probably an important email. So read it, because it's probably something around programming, something around getting connected to campus, a leadership opportunity, whatever it may be. And so making sure to really read those and sort of get involved and get invested in things that you think are going to be beneficial to you as a student here at Loyola, as a commuter student. Any other questions? And I'm not going to pull the PowerPoint back up just because I don't want to keep clicking around. But what you all have to look forward to for the rest of this summer as commuter students, you will be notified about a commuter student affinity group that is going to be happening the week of July 26th. The times are not solidified yet, but during the week of July 26th, there's going to be different groups that are going to be meeting that have different identities, and one of them being commuter. So I really implore you all to, when you do get that email about the date and time and the Zoom link for that meeting, to put it on your calendar, because that's going to be a space where, obviously this space is summer orientation session 1. There's 22 of you here. That session, hopefully, is going to be the majority of commuter students that are attending Loyola come the fall. So there's currently 86 commuter first year students. So hopefully during that meetup in July, it will be the majority of you, and you can sort of get to know each other and see, you know, where you all are from, where you live. Maybe you even know some of the people who are also commuting, and sort of being a resource for each other is a really important thing. So keep an eye out on your Loyola email for that meeting come late July. I will also be there at that meeting, but I also will be with our 2 students that I talked about earlier. So they're going to give you a much greater, you know, dive deep into commuter life here at Loyola, because obviously they both currently are commuter students. So sort of giving you all those tips, tricks, advice is going to be something that they're going to do. So highly, highly recommend it. Put it on your calendar when you get the date and time. And then the only other thing that I wanted to give you all was just my email, so that you had a point of contact for the rest of the summer if you need any questions answered, as well as once you come to campus in the fall. If there's anything that you're just confused about, need answers to, need assistance with, please, please feel free to reach out to me. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to make your transition as easy as possible. So if you have a pen or paper, or you're on your computer, you want to type it, whatever it is, you can type my name, Luke Haus, Haus, and my email is LAHAUS at loyola.edu. I'll say it one more time so you have it. LAHAUS at loyola.edu. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. And like I said, you will probably be getting emails from me come late August about great ways to get involved on campus. And one of those first ones being our activities fair. If you went on a tour, I'm sure they talked about the activities fair that happens that first few weeks on campus. All of our clubs and organizations are there. That is where you sort of walk around, see what's available, sign up for things, and sort of get involved that way. So as a commuter student, that is my #1 tip for you to start off the academic year, is to attend that student activities fair. That's where you're going to start to get those connections and involvement in campus. Any other questions before I sort of let you all know what to expect next in terms of today's orientation? And you can type your question into the question chat if you have one. Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm going to give you a little extra time. The residential students, they had to go through their whole housing process, so they will probably take the extra, 5 more minutes. But what I will let you all do is I will let you out a few minutes early to sort of take a bathroom break, go get a snack, or as I mentioned in that welcome session, utilize that networking button on the left side, especially with you all, you know, as commuter students. Getting to know each other is really, really vital and important. But besides that, your next session, which you can see in the reception button, is at 4:35. So you have 20 minutes, but make sure to log into the student stage, the room that we were just in, the stage we were just in, back to that session at 4:35. Any questions, comments, concerns about that? Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I have another question. Oh, Chloe asked a great question. What, kind of not related, but do you know when we get to pick classes? Yes, so your advisor will be reaching out to you sometime later this summer. Your advisor is the person who's going to help you pick your classes and sort of build your schedule. So look for an email from, it will be a Loyola faculty member that is your advisor. So look for an email from them later this summer. Hopefully that answered your question, Chloe. I can't give you an exact date because every professor is very different. And where do we go now? Yeah, so like I said, you can either go to that networking button on the left side and talk with you all and sort of get to know each other. And then, like I said, at 4:35, you need to go back to the stages and go to the student stage. And I think that's all the questions. Okay. Yes, correct. All right. Well, it was very nice to meet you all. And I look forward to sort of meeting you more come the fall semester, getting to see you in person. But until then, like I said, email me if you have any questions, any concerns, and I will be sure to respond as quick as you can. So I will let you all go back into that networking or the stages room. And if you do jump into the stage, they might still be in their session, so you can just listen.